Hi everybody. Just jumping on and noticing immediately that when I have something amazing happen, something beautiful happen, something tragic, something stressful, something challenging happening, I notice this desire in me to want to share, because that's just who I am and how I operate, is by sharing my experiences, because I am human being, and I have never liked this false new age style of love and light, because without the darkness there is no light. And there are so many spiritual teachers putting themselves out there who only ever share the light. It's really funny. It says John Gall's washing, and it said, oh, it's got no stars. I don't know why, guys. I'm really sorry. I've got some star thing going on where I can ask for money. I don't want to do that. That doesn't work for me. Sorry. I must get rid of it. Hi, John. There's a whole bunch of spiritual teachers that really only ever address the love and the light. And that's just not what I'm about. I'm about being real. It's always been my thing. It's probably just as well we didn't have social media when I was young and going through my 20s, because I was pretty much, although I thought I had it together, I was pretty much a walking wreck, suffering with grief over the loss of my husband dying and so many things. I used to drink and take cannabis to self-soothe. I was addicted to sugar. I was teaching exercise. I was eating crap. I was looking really, really old in my 30s, to the point people probably thought I was in my 50s. And yet somehow, in the last 10 years, 12 years, I have reversed that, to the point now where the girl who came in for Airbnb last night, we were chatting on the end of her bed, and she was 37, and I mentioned my son was 40 and I'd been to visit him in South Shields and stuff, and and she just said something. She said, well, how old are you then? And I said, well, I'm 62. And she just like, I mean, I get this all the time. People's faces when I'm chatting to them, usually younger people, and I tell them I'm 62, like they seriously, they think I'm making it up. They literally, their physical body goes into some form of shock, which is quite a bizarre thing for me to experience, especially having always felt like, yeah, very different to that. It's really interesting. So whatever I've been doing in terms of the work I've done over the last 10, 12 years has seriously must have done something. That's all I can say. It just amazes me every time. What I was going to say was I love sharing, and just before I came on just now, I noticed the voice in my head that said, no, don't share now, because you're going to look stupid, you're going to not know what you're saying, you just go on, you never have a plan what you're going to say, you just feel the energy. And I noticed the voice that said, no, don't go on and share, and yet I do it anyway. I always ignore the fear in some topics, not in all topics, because I'm human. All right. The reason I'm sharing this is very bright. The reason I'm sharing this is because my friendships over the last 3 years have really, really changed. In the last year, since I've been going through so much, I hope you can see, because I can't see you, it's very bright in the car, but my friendships have really sort of changed, because I've been going through a lot, and many of my friends have been going through a lot, and we've just kind of not spent so much time together. And I was with a friend of mine last night, and he's deep, and he was sort of analysing how he sees me on social media, and we had this conversation. He said, I see you as somebody who's got, you've got your close group of friends, and then you've got levels of friendships. And he said, and then you've got people who follow you and you interact with. And I said, but that's normal. I said, we cannot, we cannot be there for everybody all the time. And I may share stuff on social media, but there's always stuff we've all got, more of the shadowy stuff, or the stuff that's, challenging for us at the moment, that we're not going to share on social media. Obviously, every human being is like that. But I do try to give an all-round picture of me as a human being, to show other people that it's okay to be human. It's okay to be real and vulnerable. And I just, funny enough, I was just this morning having, on the dog walk, a conversation with my best friend. And she said, and she is really the science side of things, we both do very similar work, and she's very much the sort of scientific brain, and she just, funny enough, said, I hadn't mentioned this conversation, and she said to me that, you know, the reason that people only have a small group of friends is because you can't go sharing every aspect of you and everything with everybody, which clearly is the case. And that's why we only ever have a very small group of friends, because with true friends, you tell friends the truth. With real, true friends, I'm not talking about when I'm coaching people, telling them the truth, because they're paying for the truth if that's what they want, and I'm not going to give the truth in their face. I'll only offer what they're ready for, and that's a skill that requires deep sensitivity, to be able to hold space and not give too much, which actually is very difficult with our own family members sometimes for another reason. Hi Louise. Hi Lenny. Hi Angie. Hi Basil. Good to see you here. But so with your very, very close friendships, the making of a deep friendship is being able to be radically honest with that friend, telling them stuff they may not want to hear. And that is the making of true friendship. And when you can have that level of honesty, and it requires both parties to have done enough inner work, to have done enough work on themselves, to understand this, to realise that even if they are triggered beyond measure, and I have a few friends who hate the word trigger, I'm not allowed to use the word trigger, they like to use the word, I offered the word to reflect back at, but whenever we're feeling uncomfortable, it really is important that we recognise the reason we're feeling uncomfortable is at some level we're triggered, but that is only allowed really between deep, close friendships. Bless you, Suze. Yeah, it's where we're at. We're at a very, very, how can I was saying that there's hardly words to use at the moment, like a lot of telepathy happening, but there is such nuance in the frequency at the moment. It's very delicate. There's a huge space opened up where our light bodies are receiving so much more that we're actually becoming, and in this present moment, we are very, very new beings. Our friendships may be deepening, they may be getting worse, you know, they may be going through new experiences, pivotal points where lessons and awakenings are happening, which shifts the dynamic between friendships at a very deep level. And just having that awareness is really helpful. It's really useful to know that we are being held in such sacred energies at the moment, but very new to us in this matrix. I can't think of another way of saying it right now without losing my thread of what I've come on here to say, but I hope it's making sense to some of you, and I hope you can receive what I'm sharing. Hi Deborah, nice to see you, darling. So, and the thing about having these very close friendships, and you may feel like you haven't got anyone, because I think part of it, when we're going through these transformations, is actually going through phases. And I've been through it myself quite a lot recently, of thinking, actually, I haven't got any really close friends. I haven't got any really deep friends. People don't get me. People don't know what I've been through over the last 6 months. And we can feed ourselves all of this information, but you know what? There's real gift in just allowing the timing. And that's, in those spaces, we have to become our own best friend. We have to love up on ourselves and nurture and care for ourselves. And that's one of the things I'm going to be teaching people how to do in the coming months, because it has been very, very powerful for me. Because if you feel like you haven't got any friendships, what happens is when you start to fully nurture yourself and take care of yourself at that level, you will reconnect with the right people at the right time. And my very best friend, you know, we're so radically honest with each other. The same with me and my sister. You know, you can be radically honest. I'm talking about just really allowing people to meet the parts of themselves, and they might not be ready, and that might be when spaces come between you. It happened with me and my mentor. There were times when I wouldn't talk to her for a whole year because she triggered me so badly that I wasn't ready to receive what she was sharing with me. And it would take me a whole year to come back to her, because I valued how she made me see myself, how she was a mirror for me. And oh, that's really great to hear, Joanna. I'm glad. I'm so glad. And the reason you're resonating is because I'm so in alignment with what I'm feeling right now. That's why. It's a really big one. It's a really big one. Because I always considered myself somebody who had a lot of friends. And the last 6 months, I felt like I've had nobody. Yes, I've got my close friends, but they've been sort of dropping down like flies, quite honestly. But what's happening, and again, it's about timing, is that, you know, I have a few very close friends that I can share with. But it's about how real, how honest are you willing to be about your life? How radically honest, because people don't do it on social media. People on social media will show all the good bits. They'll show the fun. They won't show the pain they're going through. And that's normal. Why would you? You don't have to do that. No one's telling you to do that. But if you haven't got anybody to share your deepest challenges and your emotions and all that with, either get a coach, somebody like me who will hold space for you, if you don't know how to hold it for yourself. But it's really useful to have somebody to share with. And sometimes when we dump, I'll use the word dump, when we dump ourselves on somebody who's a friend, if they haven't done enough work to receive you, even if some of your pointing is at them, if they haven't done enough work to receive you, then it will cause a fraction and you will go your own separate ways, either forever or for a period of time. Because you have to match, to have that depth of friendship with somebody, you have to match, I really believe, you have to match the level of awareness and consciousness and self inner work that you've done to be able to hold that level of connection. That's what I really believe. And, you know, it may be in some areas of work, it may not be in other areas of their lives or your lives. And that's why I've always loved to have different friends for different aspects of who I am. Like, I missed dreadfully my friend Rachel, who passed away 6 years ago, because she didn't have all her shit together. She was a beautiful soul. I loved her. She reminded me of the part of me that didn't have all my shit together, because none of us have. Let's be really honest. None of us have got all of our shit together. And she brought out that part of me where we could go into London, we would dance in the street, we would talk to everyone, we would sing loud and be crazy and be funny and giggle and laugh. And I have that aspect, that playfulness in me, 1,000,000,000,000,000%. But how often has she been out lately? Not very often, because I don't have people that I can be her with. So I basically be her on my own. We all need different friends to bring out different aspects of ourselves as we learn, and we must learn how to embody those different aspects that are within each of us. Because all of us have, you know, the other day I had some oil. I hadn't had any oil for months. I'm talking about a special oil. And it brought out such laughter in me. And the few people I chatted to on the phone that evening, my frequency, however it was induced on that particular day, brought out parts of them where they laughed their socks off, and I'd never seen them be able to laugh like that before. And it was fascinating, because we all have that within us, to be playful, to be sexy, to be creative, to be flirty. You know, sometimes, like yesterday, I had this moment flirt with a guy. And it was like, oh, I haven't met that part of me in a long time. I haven't met my flirty part for a long time. We have so many masks. We have so many aspects to being human. Coming back to friendship. So what I wanted to share was how my friend repeated today, and this is a friend who we were very, very, very honest with each other, literally a week ago, where we could have fallen out. In the past, we would have pulled away. One of us would have pulled away because we were so honest with each other. But we've both done enough work, enough inner work, to be able to fully meet the other, receive what was given to us without storming off, without running away. And I'm noticing some of the communities I'm in at the moment, some of the stuff I'm doing locally, and the kind of more, I would say, the political stuff, I see people who haven't done work because they get triggered, they storm off, and it's like, wow, you know, this is the majority of people. The majority of humanity has not done inner work and cannot receive. When I say truth, I'm like, if somebody gets triggered for whatever reason, and they storm off, the idea is to be able to get triggered and not run away from it. The idea is to be able to meet the offering, the feedback, the whatever, the advice, whatever's given, to be with it, to sit with it, and to feel into the truth of it, and to be able to then respond from a place of truth, from a place of your heart. And if you haven't ever done that work, you're not going to do that. You're just going to get triggered and run away and not want to hear it. Or you're going to, oh, it's all my fault. You know, you're going to use your ego and your pain body to respond. And that's not truth. That's not truth. And the whole of most of humanity are running around like this, keeping themselves busy, going to work, you know, eating too much, not exercising. So coming back to what I said at the beginning, the work I've done in the last 10, 15 years, now I see in my physical body for 62 years old is feeling light. Okay, I'm starting to get a bit creaky, but that's because I haven't done enough stretching and Pilates just recently, and I've already started doing it myself. But what I'm trying to say is your friendships, your 1 or 2 friendships, or your no friendships, start building a relationship with yourself. Start loving upon yourself. Start giving yourself the really deep, nurturing care and understanding and space holding for you. For you. Because if you cannot give that to yourself, and if you don't have a friend that you can fully share your heart with and share how you're feeling, then you're not going to get to the place that you want to get in terms of deep friendships, deep intimacy, deep relationships, deep honouring of your mission, your purpose in life, your reason for being here. You're going to stay in the matrix, and it all comes back to the heart. It all comes back to the heart. I'm offering, and I didn't do this post for this, but as an add-on, I hate self-promoting what I do. It's one of my blocks. I am holding a heart circle on Sunday evening at 7:30 online via the BU Evolution platform. If you want a link, it's £10 for a month's worth of classes on an amazing mind, body, spirit platform. But if you like to have the initiation, or if you're a well-seasoned healer, because I love working with people who might call themselves a spiritual teacher, because I tell you what, the Love and Light Brigade, it's time to get radically honest and radically real. You don't have to do it on a Facebook Live just telling the whole world what it is, but the moment you shine light in a safe space, the moment that you can shine the light on the truth of how you're feeling and be met in that place, is the moment your world begins to shift. And me and my friend are going to be announcing something tomorrow, because she has some amazing ways of explaining what I am saying as well. So if you think I was able to talk clearly about friendships and that, I love people who can explain things in a very clear, easy to understand way. And yeah, so out of this whole last few months, for me, very, very slowly, there is this massive change happening collectively, but also for each of us individually. And it's about just allowing and loving and connecting to the heart and reaching out wherever and however you need for support in space holding you to become more of who you really are. And that does include what you think, what you eat, why you eat what you eat, when you eat what you eat, do you exercise, do you take care of yourself, do you have any friends, do you have any deep friendships, do you have a friendship with yourself, are you enjoying your life, what are your expectations from life, are you living your full potential, do you feel like there's a part of you that could be living a different life, and are you making any attempts to live that? We're all feeling, anyone who is alive and sensitive is always having these thoughts going through them. And we don't know what we don't know. We all have blind spots. So anybody who ever thinks, I always used to go to workshops when I was doing my yoga teacher training, before I'd ever done any inner work at all, didn't know what the meaning was. I remember my yoga teacher training sort of 25, 27 years ago, had us sitting quietly to go into some sort of satsang, and I remember sitting there sort of looking around the room thinking, there's a long gap here between her words, there's a long gap here, when's someone going to talk? Because I was so used to needing to have every space filled with a thought or an instruction or a share. And that was really the beginning for me of going inwards. And that takes some practice. So if you're interested in the beginning of learning how to go inwards and want some space holding, please join me on Sunday. Send me a message, pop something below. I will send you a link in the instructions. It's 10 quid. Even if you only do my heart circle, you could do 4 in the next month for just one payment of £10. Don't like talking about money, don't like talking about self-promotion, but I highly recommend. I know that on my life's journey, you cannot have the light without the darkness. It doesn't exist. And if you want to start, or if you're ready to start looking at changing life, meeting some of the darkness, or just being in a space where other people are meeting their darkness, because always, always, always the right people come together at the perfect time. And that is what manifesting and the law of attraction is all about, but there's a lot more to it. And that only is learned through lived experience, not by talking about it, not by reading about it, but by being human. Have a fantastic day. I'm just sharing some of my frequency. I hope you picked up on some of that, and let me know in the comments what you got from that, or just write medicine if you received any medicine from my share. Love you loads, and I'll be in touch again very, very soon, because